Welcome again to Donu's World. Thank God it's Friday. I'm here in a gym that's attached to my residence in Abuja, the capital of Nigeria. And my personal trainer, George, say hello, is trying to put me into shape. Now, we usually start with this terrible machine that looks like a medieval instrument of torture. And George's favorite mantra is no pain, no gain. So I'm not expecting to have fun. Well, that wasn't too difficult. Next.
Okay, so make use of this.
So next is the bike. Okay. Okay, phew. Well, those of you who are fit will probably not regard my 30 minutes in the gym as a big deal, but for me, I'm exhausted and sweating. So, I thought that this would be a good opportunity to ask George some questions that would be useful for everyone who is interested in getting fit and losing weight. So George, just tell us first of all, you train young people, you train older people. What's the difference?
Okay. The difference is this. The young ones are more energetic because they are young. They can do various exercises from squats to push-ups to lunges, even skipping and running as usual, included. But for older ones, older people, for the elderlies, like we call them, you work based on your strength, and because of some maybe minor illnesses someone may have, or maybe joint pain, waist pain, so you work according to your strength. You don't do it as if, the way the young ones are doing it. You work according to your age.
Aren't you being a little bit unfair? I mean, sometimes I see older people who are even older than myself, jogging, both here and abroad. So you're implying that only young people can do vigorous exercise. What about the older ones who have the energy?
Okay, let me correct this impression. Exercises has to do with time. Okay, if you've been working out from a very young age, if you've been consistent in working out, consistency really matters when it comes to working out and keeping fit. If you've been working out from a young age, even at an old age, we can still have that energy and that mobility to still do what some people of your age can't do. So that's just it. You just need to be consistent in your working out.
Okay. Now, what about people who would like to catch up? Is it possible, or is it too late? I mean, I'm 64 years old. I'm probably a sort of like slightly unusual case because I was actually a champion athlete and tennis player as a youngster. So then I had many years of not doing anything much, and now I'm very overweight and very, very unfit. But can I catch up? Can someone like myself catch up, or is it too late?
It's never too late. It's never too late. You can always catch up, but you just have to take it one step at a time. There's one word I always use: never say never.
Right.
Okay? It all has to do with your goal. You understand me? You have to. It has to be something that you're desperate for. Something that you want. So you have to put in your best. If you want something, then you have to put in your best, no matter the age, no matter the time. You just have to start. Just start from somewhere and be serious and be consistent. Then with time, yes, it all has to do with consistency.
Would you say I'm consistent?
Well, not really, not really. That's one major challenge. That's the major challenge most people face. Consistency, because of illness, or maybe traveling, or busy and everything. You have to skip one or two classes. You just have to be consistent. That's it. No matter whatever you're doing, no matter how little, you just have to do something. Okay, just have
How
to do
many
something.
times a week? Minimum.
Minimum a week. Minimum should be 3 times a week.
Okay. Okay, George. Well, look, thank you so much for coming to share some words of wisdom with us about exercise and health. We will be calling on you again at intervals
My
to
pleasure.
keep us posted, and also to keep my listeners and my viewers posted on the progress I'm making or not making. And you're allowed to be totally honest. But one thing I will say for myself, at least I'm better than my friend Toru, yes, Toru, and Tumini, who had a personal trainer and basically turned him into a supplier of foodstuffs. Because
Wow.
every time he came, they were never ready to start. So they'd wind up chatting to him, and then they discovered that he lived near a market.
Wow.
And so they said, you know what? On days when we're not really ready to exercise, why don't you just come with some items for us? And that was how he quit being their trainer and became their food supplier.
Whoa, whoa, wonders.
Okay, well, thank you
That's
so
it.
much. So maybe you could just say a quick word about your background.
Okay, like you already know, but for those one out there who maybe just see me for the first time, I'm a fitness trainer. Yeah, I do both cardio, both strength training, stretching, yoga, just name it. Anything that has to do with fitness, it's my thing.
And you know, he's a real bully because, I mean, you see me sweating like this, it's because of him. But I guess I should be grateful. Maybe by the time I've listened to him consistently for a few months, you will see a difference, and I will feel the difference. Thank you, George.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for having me.
Phew, it's so hot today. I had to move to the veranda. Anyway, people who haven't seen me for a while often express disbelief and shock about how fat I am nowadays. Having been super slim for most of my life, I'm now basically double the size I used to be, and I want to tell you what caused this massive weight gain. My journey towards obesity started in 2015 when I was dragged out of my home in Port Harcourt, a coastal city, by two heavily armed kidnappers and imprisoned in a hut in the Niger Delta Creeks for 2 weeks. For now, let me focus on what happened to me after this trauma. We can talk about the trauma itself later. Anyway, people are fragile in different ways, and there are many admirable kidnapped victims who have recovered from the experience without any further ado. Sadly, though, I'm not one of those robust types. Shortly after I was released, I became a complete nervous wreck. I suffered from bizarre daytime and nighttime hallucinations. I'd see snakes coming at me like torpedoes, wrapping themselves around my neck and trying to strangle me. I'd imagine bullets hurtling at me and covering my entire body in injuries that would drip with blood. The psychiatrist I consulted in London concluded that strong mind-altering medications would help me, and they did. But there were unwanted side effects. I sometimes slept for 18 hours a day, and my metabolism slowed down to a crawl. Even though I wasn't eating more than I had before, I started to gain between 1 and 2 kilos every single month, and this went on for 3 years. I quit taking those meds in 2019, but haven't been able to shake off the rolls of lard that made me look like the Michelin woman. And I'm constantly devastated about this failure. There is no hour in the day when bitter regrets about my weakness do not cross my mind. Okay, some plus-size women aren't bothered about being plus-sized, especially in African societies in which older ladies aren't expected to be slim. And these unrepentantly obese women carry their extra flesh and fat with panache and pride. But life is all about different strokes for different folks, and I am filled with shame and self-loathing whenever I look in the mirror. Sometimes tears run down my face. I am a shadow of my former self, or a large shadow of my former self. I keep remembering when I could wear nice clothes and miserably contemplating the voluminous garments I feel compelled to wear. And after several half-hearted attempts at ditching the flab on my own and furiously beating myself up for being a die-hard glutton who lacked the willpower to stick to calorie-controlled diets and fasting regimes, I finally succumbed to Ozempic on New Year's Day. Ah, Ozempic. If you haven't heard about Ozempic, you must have been in a coma for the past year or two. It was invented so type 2 diabetics could control their blood sugar. Then patients discovered that Ozempic also suppresses appetite and the food noise that fills the heads of people who are obsessed with eating. And hey presto, doctors suddenly started to prescribe it to non-diabetics who were desperate to lose weight. And though it's very expensive, the demand surged in many different countries to the point where there is now a global shortage of this wonder drug. There has been so much talk about selfish, non-diabetic fatties like me cornering for reasons linked to vanity, a medication that diabetics need for medical reasons. But this allegation is not entirely fair. Okay, so there are Hollywood stars who were never fat in the first place, who use Ozempic just to be fashionably skinny. But most Ozempic users do have very real health problems, even if they aren't diabetic. It's a known fact that obesity worsens or triggers off all kinds of physical and mental ailments, including cancer, strokes, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, and dementia. And last October, my doctor told me that I was pre-diabetic and would soon wind up with full-blown diabetes if I didn't lose weight very soon. I also have high blood pressure and frail lungs caused by decades of stupidly smoking like a chimney, and, long story short, I simply cannot afford to be this big any longer. Not at this age. There are other disadvantages of obesity. It is harder, for example, to attract professional respect if you are always breathless and huffing and puffing and struggling to walk briskly. I mean, put yourself in an employer's shoes. If you had to choose between two equally skilled job candidates, one fast and slender and one slow and chubby, which would you pick? So, I've lost 18 kilos since I embraced Ozempic on January the 1st, but I'm very conflicted about taking it. There's something obscene about doggedly clinging to gluttony, then spending tons of money on a weight loss drug, when the world is full of starving children who can't get their hands on one decent meal a week. Then there's the fact that Ozempic sometimes makes me feel nauseous, and I don't take it every week for this reason. And I keep asking myself why I should subject myself to these bouts of discomfort when I could, if I tried hard enough, lose weight the natural way. With help from the likes of Dr. Jason Fung, the Canadian fasting guru, whose followers get great results. Oh well, never mind. Perhaps I will, in the near future, summon up the self-control to confront this challenge without a medicinal crutch. In the meantime, please stay with me and pray for me. I will keep you posted on my progress. You will see with your own eyes whether I'm making progress or not. My aim and dream is to be in great shape by my birthday on October the 7th, and to look like Kamala Harris, who is my role model when it comes to these matters. I'm determined to start taking exercise seriously and to be consistently more careful around food and drink. I have a gym, I have a swimming pool, I have Ozempic and or Dr. Fung. I have no excuse for messing up. See you next week.